Chateau. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. I am going to share with you some lovely goodies that I got a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately, I don't have them with me as right now I am in the US. But I did have the forethought to take some pictures before I um, left so that I could at least share with you exactly what I purchased. Excuse me. Um, and um, kind of talk to you about it. So I did go to the UK for a couple of weeks for a job, like a house sitting job, but it was like an exchange. So we have a Facebook group where we can put on there, hey, I'm looking for someone to um, stay at my house from X time to X time while I go on vacation, or someone can say, hey, I'm looking to stay in X place. Um, if anyone needs a house sitter or a pet sitter or anything like that. So we don't get paid in like a salary or money or anything like that, but we get to do a job to help someone, and we can take care of their house, we can take care of their pets, that sort of thing. So basically, I mean, we pay for a plane ticket and we pay for anything else that we might do there, but as far as lodging and stuff, we're solid, which is amazing to have that network. Um, and I absolutely adore the UK. Um, I, to be fair, I adore the UK in summertime. I haven't been when it's cold and rainy and dark all the time. So I can't say that I love the UK all the time because I haven't been there. But the two times that I've been there in summer, it's been glorious. So um, anyway, while I was there, before I was going there, I was looking up things that I could do because I wasn't going to be driving, right? I was going to be pretty local traveling, except for one trip, which isn't what I'm talking about today. We will talk about it, just not right now. But I was like, okay, what is there to do? What is there to see? What can I do with my daughter? Um, and I found a couple of things, and we did some of those things. But then I was like, okay, I gotta see if there's any yarn anywhere. So there wasn't anything in the majority of the towns around where I was staying, but there was one that was about 30-ish minutes away by car. Um, but it would take 2 hours and change by bus. And the bus ride was significantly cheaper, but I didn't want to leave my daughter for like 4 hours, and she definitely did not want to come. So I was like, well, if you come with me, we can get some lunch. We could. And she was like, I don't want to, and I was like, okay. So I opted for an Uber, which was more expensive, but I got there faster. So that was kind of the trade-off. And the driver was lovely. He asked me, if I was planning on, returning at any point. And I was like, I mean, I'll probably be about an hour or so. And he was like, okay. He was like, because there's not a lot of Ubers in the area. So he was like, um, I'll stick around and hopefully I can, ping back when you. And he ended up being my Uber driver on the way back too, but um, which was fine. Um, so the place that I went to was a town called Stamford, Stamford. Not to be confused with Stanford, which is a university in the States, but and probably a couple of towns in multiple states, because that seems to be the case here. But um, I went and I didn't look at the town specifically when I was looking up the yarn shop. I just wanted to go to the yarn shop. So I was very surprised as we were driving through that there were all of these, excuse me, I don't, maybe that's not the right word. I was going to say niche shops, but it wasn't really. There was like a bookstore and a music store but they were all like right there. It was almost like it was an arts center, if that makes sense. Like they were all kind of together. So when I got dropped off, I was walking to the yarn store, and I get there, and it's closed. And I was like, because it said online that it was open, but I noticed that in the window there was this teeny tiny little chalkboard sign that said "Be back in 5 minutes," and I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk around, see what I can see, and check back in a little bit, right? So the first place that I saw was directly across the little sidewalk from the yarn shop, and it was, I don't want to say the name of the store wrong. It was the Stamford Fabric Company. Now, I will put pictures up of the shop and the town itself as we go through, but I wanted to show you specifically what I purchased. So, this was not intentional, right? My intention was to just go to the yarn shop. That's all I wanted to do. But because it wasn't open, I was like, well, I want to wait until it opens because she says she'll be back soon. It's not like she's closed for the day. That would have really been upsetting because I wouldn't have come back, right? Like I was there for that one, and I already spent the Uber money to get there. So I was like, I would have been very upset. But she did come back. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is what I got at the fabric company. So the bundle of fat quarters. I have a bag that I'm making, and I didn't have the bag in mind when I purchased these, but now that I'm making the bag, they're going to be lining the bag, some of them. And then the Christmas ones here, I have an idea for those. And then I bought 2 sets of buttons. The lady was very, very surprised because I walked up with the little tube of buttons and she was like, how many do you want? And I said, all of them. And she said, all of them? And I said, yes. I am visiting here, so I won't be able to come back and get buttons if I need more buttons. So I have the Union Jack. It's over here. I have the Union Jack. I think there's 7 of those. And then these, I absolutely adored these buttons. They look like stained glass. They're so pretty up close, like in person. And there's 6 of those. So that would make a really good sweater, or even like with the Union Jack ones. These, I was thinking about the pillow that Sam sends me, the pillow cover. Not that she's making it right now. Like that's not what's happening. But during our Men Fellow Mouths, that's one of the things that she will have to make for me is a pillow cover. And I thought it would be kind of nice to sew those buttons on, right? And because I did get to see Sam while I was in the UK this time, not in this town, but I thought that would be kind of nice to have that connected to the pillow cover that she's going to send me. Depending, like it may not be one that I can use those for, but if it is, that'd be kind of nice. If not, I'll find something else to do with them, right? I have an amazing button collection, so I will. It was unintentional. It was unintentional to have that many buttons. Not those buttons that I purchased, but buttons in general. But when you are doing things where you're making things that require buttons, you're like, oh, that's a cool button. Oh, that's a cool button. And then you just it becomes another thing. It just does. So, um, we'll see what happens with that. But that was kind of the thought behind the Union Jack ones. The ones that look like stained glass, I was just like, I gotta have them, right? So, when I finished in there, because it didn't take long, the shop wasn't very big, and I didn't need bolts and bolts of fabric. I would have loved to have purchased some, but we didn't come with big suitcases, and I already knew that with the yarn that I was going to get, plus anything that I was going to get when I went to see Sam, I was going to need to conserve my space. So when I finished, the store still wasn't open. So I went down and looked at a music store and a used bookstore. I didn't get anything in either one of those. I did want to get something for my son at the music store, but they didn't have anything that was representative of the type of instrument that he plays or anything like that. So, I mean, they had saxophones and clarinets and flutes and things like that. I wanted to get him like a little pin or something because he's going to be having his senior recital soon. And unfortunately, I won't be able to be there because it'll be in the fall. So I wanted to get him something kind of special to let him know that I am so very proud of all of the amazing work that he's done. But they didn't have anything. So, I mean, I'll figure something out, but I thought it would be neat to get something from the UK for him for that. And then I went into the bookstore, and this was definitely a collector's dream. I mean, they had some really, really rare books all locked up, right? But it was, I don't know, it felt like heaven to be in that store. I mean, the smell of the books and the rarity of some of those books. Like, I never thought I'd be able to lay eyes on them in my life, right? Much less, like, stand next to them. I know that sounds weird to some people, but I mean, I don't know. Reading is another passion of mine, so it was amazing to be able to be there. And that was like 6 rooms of books. Now, some of the books you could like pull off the shelves and read and whatnot. I did find one about Bellini, who was a composer who was born in Sicily, in Catania, right? And I thought that that was amazing to find that there, because I've actually been, right, where he's buried and things like that, inside of one of the churches in Catania. So by the time I finished at the music store and the bookstore, I went back to the yarn shop and it was open. Yay! And the proprietor in there, she was so kind and so helpful. There were 2 floors to her shop, and you'll see pictures of the shop as well. I'll show you what I bought on my phone. I'll put the pictures of that in there as well, but just so that you can see it. I struggled with picking just a few things. I did do some research while I was in there because, I mean, her prices weren't terrible. They were comparable, but I did find some of the yarn cheaper online. But I did want the yarn, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get the yarn in time if I order it online. So I went ahead and got some. And then we chatted. I was telling her, you know, that I was visiting, and we were talking about the train situation in the UK, and it is all kinds of crazy. Like, prices are so different in different parts of the country, at different times, different days of the week, different times of the year. Oh, it is just absolutely bananas. And like, some of the train tickets that I got were relatively cheap. It was like 24 pounds, which is like 30 something dollars, right? But some of the train tickets I was looking at, like when I was trying to figure out how to meet up with Sam, there were tickets that were like 300-400 pounds. I didn't get those, obviously, but oh man, and there's so many different companies that, like when I was taking the train, well, we'll talk about that later, but to be able to switch trains and switch companies where you're switching trains, whoa, okay, you need like just a map of where all of those places are just to get it done. But anyway, we talked about that. The lady she was explaining to me like why that happened, and all of that in the country. She was telling me about like having to take a train to go visit her son when he was at university, and how expensive that was, and just all of these things. And so we talked for a while, and she really was a truly lovely person. Um, and she was like, take all the time that you need. And I was like, yeah, I was here, but you were closed. And she was like, I'm so glad that you came back. And we really did. We had a lovely time chatting. So I will show you the yarn that I got, right? Because that's what you're here for. I got, yes. So when I first walked in and I was taking pictures, I got caught in this yarn. This is King Cole Linendale DK yarn. And then this is like a dark blue, we have a purple, and then we have a gray. Now I was torn between a couple of colors. Oh, blurry again. Oh, I'm just gonna have to blurry. I don't know. It's not the best situation here with this. I was torn between there was like a beige sort of color, and then there was the gray. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go upstairs and look around, and then I'll come back down and make a decision. You see what decision I went with, but it did take me a minute. So then when I went upstairs, that's where all of her high-end yarn is. And I'll get into what the yarn is made up of in just a little bit. I didn't forget, I promise. But that's where all of her like hand-dyed hanks, the wools, there were some really lovely UK brands that I'd never heard of. And you'll see the pictures coming up on the screen. I did take pictures of the shop. I did ask for permission to take pictures. So we're all good there. But then the other yarn that I got was this Rowan Soft Yak DK. And all the yarn that I got were 50-gram balls. But the Rowan DK is, excuse me, I had it here. Let me see if I can pull it up. I had it here, but let's just do this. Okay, so This yarn is 76% cotton, 15% yak, and 9% nylon. And you can use a 4mm set of knitting needles. You can iron low heat, do not tumble dry. You can dry clean, machine wash cold. On a gentle cycle, do not bleach, dry flat in the shade. And when I tell you that it is incredibly soft, I thought there was more yak in it than there was when I first felt it. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it struck me as funny because while I was in the UK, there is another YouTube channel, Adam Cleveley. He was doing a tag that I had started, the Crafty Personality tag, and he had been tagged by Lisa Khadijah at Lady Bird Loves, and he was talking about using yak as well, and I had just purchased it, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's so funny. It was absolute coincidence, but it was interesting that he was talking about it, and I was like literally holding it in my hand when I was watching his video. But thank you, Adam, for the lovely contribution to the tag. I really appreciate it, and I hope that we can both enjoy yak yarn. But this set of yarn, I only got 2 of each color. I got, let me pull this back up. I got Pasture, which is 240, color 240, and then the other one was, let me see, I thought I took good enough pictures to zoom in on that, but I guess I didn't. It is, I want to say it's 230, which is the cream color. But I could be wrong. I will double check later. But I only got 2 of those in each color because while I was doing my research, I found that particular yarn significantly cheaper online. But I did get the Linendale, which, let me look that up because again, I can't see it. This is actually also really incredibly soft. It is 57% cotton, 30% viscose, and 13% linen. And for both of these, I plan on making tops out of them because they're just really, really soft. And I have the colorway Midnight, which is the blue. The gray is Storm, and the purple is that the color name? Okay, I thought it was something else. It says Damson here, but I thought it was something else. Anyway, it was, like I said, they're all 50-gram balls, and you can machine wash, cool, do not iron, do not tumble dry. You can't dry clean, do not bleach. It says hand wash, but you could, I mean, as long as you didn't have an agitator in your washing machine, you could wash it on a gentle cycle in the washing machine. But I mean, it would be up to you, like your washing machine. Where's my mouse? There it is. So I'll just show you again the yarn. Turn it this way. So this is the yarn that I got. Like I said, I did get 3 each of the Linendale colors and then 2 of the Rowan. And I did order, which will be a different video, I did order more online for each of those. So that was my amazing trip to Stamford and the amazing things that I got. Like I said, I didn't get anything in the bookshop or the music shop, but I did have a good time walking around and looking. And I did put up a short from that town, the one where it was like an English stroll. Those were the cutest little lambs that were playing in a field. Um, because I had walked down, there was this huge gate. I didn't realize that there was like this manor house in that town. Um, but as we were driving in the car, I saw all these signs like it's 1 mile this way, it's this, and we passed this huge gate, and that was the grounds. That was the gate to the grounds. Like it was closed, you couldn't walk through it, but like you don't just have a yard, you have grounds, right? So that estate must have been massive compared to like, a house with a yard or something. But I was walking because I wanted to see the gate, and I heard the lambs on the other side of the street, and so I just crossed the street and watched them play for a little while I waited for my Uber. So um, thank you all so much for joining me for this video. Let me know what you think about the things that I purchased, the pictures of the town, and what would you make if you had those yarns, right? Um, oh, I did not tell you the yardage. I'll tell you that in a different video. All right, so until I see you again, be well, be safe, and be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella!